I've not seen something from this brand for many years now, and it's one of their big guns. Keep watching. Yeah, hello again, it's GotAUkulele review day as ever, your summary video review to accompany the full written review that you'll find on the GotAUkulele website. If you like this content and you want to help me continue providing it, or just want to say thank you, there are some links down there below the video and on the website where you can do what these people have done, throw a donation to help keep the site going. It's very, very much appreciated. I'm not a commercially sponsored site, I don't want to be, they wouldn't be real reviews. And you can also help me out by subscribing to the YouTube channel. If you hit the bell symbol, you'll get notified when I put up a new video. Right, yeah, I looked at this brand a couple of times before, but it's some years ago now. They're a very well known and probably very well liked British musical instrument brand, more famed for their guitars, which are liked by a lot of people. They've been dabbling in ukuleles for quite some time. They got quite a range of them, which we'll talk about in a moment. And I think I looked at the smaller ones, but I've never looked at one of their baritones. This is the Tanglewood TWT 20 in their Tiare series, which is what all the ukuleles are called. TWT 20 baritone. First look, very striking, very, very dark and chocolatey. The Tiare series of instruments go from, I think, about a TWT1 all the way up to a TWT20. But I don't think that increase in number is about an increase in quality. It's more about sizes and different wood types. And to the best of my knowledge, they are all laminate instruments, every single one of them. There's no solid woods in them, so the different numbering means different woods, different scales, that sort of thing. TWT20, baritone, and the wood here, as I say, all laminate, and this is all laminate ebony. Now, it reminds me very much of a Carla instrument I saw made like this. In fact, a lot of these Tiare series remind me a lot of those exotic wood series from Carla, which are just like different laminates on the outer. And this one, stripy, chocolatey. Lots of interest going on with it. Back, quite arched and fairly nicely book matched. Book matching on the tail is appalling. That really, really jars me. What? Come on, just shift this up. It's virtually, oh my word, that's awful. But I'm probably nitpicking. You either like this or you don't. I do quite like it, I suppose. Very dark, lots going on. But it is just all laminate. I've got no problem with laminates. As I always say, good laminates are good instruments. And particularly with a bigger bodied instrument, laminate really matters less and less. Yeah, you either like it or you don't. Chocolatey, stripy brown. I think a lot of people will probably say they do like it, but this is woeful. The bridge is made from a material they call ebon core. That means it's composite ebony, strips of ebony glued back together to create a new block, offcuts basically, which are then cut down to shape. No problem with that, better than using virgin ebony. This is waste not, want not stuff. What I will say about it though is it's really scruffy. Have a look at the pictures I put up on the macros on the socials. It's really quite untidy down there, very rough here. It's a tie bar, screwed in place, holding a plastic straight-topped saddle. There's no decoration. You wouldn't think there was, but there is. There's this laser etching, which I don't like laser etching at the best of times. It's very fine laser etching, and it's so fine, you lose it. Where is it? You wouldn't know it was there until you're like literally this close. And that's a shame. No bindings, so you're looking at the raw edges of the laminate wood around the top and back, which some people like, some people think looks a little bit scruffy. Finished in an open pore satin, which is pretty well done. There's one or two little scuff marks in the finishing around the instrument in various places, but it's not too bad. Not very thick, not over pulled. Inside looks pretty tidy. X-braced on the top, notched linings. The brace is pretty hefty, and there is a truss rod, adjustable truss rod in the neck. No need for a truss rod in a ukulele, trust me. Trust me. I made a joke. Pretty tidy in there, really. So this is all right. It's very generic. This is very generic bridge, quite scruffy. And it's all just about, oh, look at my fancy laminate wood. But it is just a very generic laminate box, but pretty well done down here. Apart from that scruffy bridge. The neck, they specify as a kume, obvious joint in the heel, obvious joint up here at the headstock, which is quite ugly, that one up there. I don't like those. Satin finished broom handle round up here, which I suppose is less of an issue for a baritone. It's more like guitar, getting up to guitar neck, quite a lot narrower than a guitar neck. This is average. This is 37. I've seen tenors, I've seen concerts with necks that wide. So 37 for a baritone. Average to a little bit skinny, 30 from D2E. Yeah, okay. More ebon core for the fingerboard, which you can see the strips of the wood that it's made from. It could do with being a little bit shinier and a bit more polished, but it is nice and even in colour. Edge bound, hiding the fret ends. There are no sharp fret ends at all on this, so that's pretty decent. You get 18 of those, 14 to the body joint. They look quite skinny. Outward facing position dots at 5, 7, 9. 12, 15, 9. That's a guitar maker's dot. You know, there's nothing wrong with a 9th. I play guitars with them at the 9th, but it's usually 10th on a ukulele. If you're a ukulele player dabbling for your first time with a baritone, you pick this up, that could well throw you. I'd much rather that was at the 10th, just because it was more helpful to people. And then they didn't bother to put side dots on it either, so that's a mistake. A really easy mistake to rectify. So helpful to have the dots on the side. Right, there's a plastic nut, quite scruffy again, the finishing there. The headstock faced in more of this laminate of the ebony. The Tanglewood logo is etched in. Tuners are kind of sort of parts bin, generic, with overly fancy metalwork on them. Chrome open gears. I like that they're open gears. They're all different tensions. Some of them are stiff, some of them are loose, one of them feels a bit wobbly. They're cheap. They're cheap. And it comes with what they say are Aquila strings. Well, it's just Aquila on the first and the second string. The other two are wound strings. And what else? Nothing else. A big gig bag, branded. Now, do you know what? I quite like that because normally 99 bar flight, 99% of gig bags are black. This one's white with black trim, so it's like the opposite. I quite like that, otherwise it's just a fairly generic padded big gig bag. And then the price, on their website, they have an RRP on this on as 169. Shops are regularly discounting it down to about 130. But not all shops are discounting it to 130. So in my review scoring, I've reviewed it at 169. It's probably good value compared to those Carla exotic instruments, but I still think this is quite expensive. It's not a lot of money. I don't think it's great value for money. This is very generic and some scruffiness here and there and things like the fingerboard dots, and I don't like those tuners. It's pretty generic, but you know, it is, I suppose, it is a nice looking instrument. Why haven't you done more with the decoration? There's no point in that laser etching. Can you actually see it? I mean, it is, oh, there it is. It's so lost. But I suppose I am still nitpicking a little bit. Kind of average weight for a baritone. Balance is okay, 955 grams. Sits all right in the hands. It feels sharp on the edges around the top. It'd be nice if they were rolled off a little bit more, but you can't have everything for 169 quid, can you? Let's have a play. What I find with baritones, you're not going to have a problem with volume with any baritone, really, or sustain. They've just got all that extra real estate. And what I do find with cheap laminate baritones is that they can sound kind of a little bit echoey. That real laminate echoiness comes through, and it's the case here. But on the flip side to that, I kind of find it sounds kind of old-fashioned, sort of campfire sound. Am I making any sense? Do you know what I mean? A bit like that Gretsch Jim Dandy guitar, which of course is all laminate. These strings are... I hate these tuners. Awful tuners. That'll do you. Right, so volume. Like I said, not a problem. Never usually going to be a problem with a baritone. And loads of sustain too. Yeah, guitar-y sound. But it is got that echoey laminate. As I say, I'm not totally against it, because it can create a sort of campfire-y, old-fashioned sort of Sears catalogue guitar kind of sound, which is kind of precious now. If you want really, really nice clarity, pure tone, it's not that. Really fat back of the neck. I'm finding it hard to play. I find this really uncomfortable to play. But it has got that old-timey sort of echoey sort of still woody tone. So uncomfortable up here. I've got big hands and I'm struggling to get around this. I play guitar, but it's the combination of this, putting this width here, pushing your crook back, and then having to squeeze your fingers back into a small space. I'm not quite agile enough for it. That's where it sounds echoey. Yeah, it's generic. That's all I can say. I mean, if you don't like the look of that, I wouldn't get it, because there's not much else. It's good. Plays as a baritone. It's cheap-ish. It's just very generic sounding, and I'm still, as I say, split on that, in two minds about what I think about it. Those tuners are horrible. I'd really want to have a play around with different strings. The bridge needs tidying up. Like the bag. It's generic. There's a lot about... I mean, in the baritone stakes for this sort of money, Baton Rouge do a great one. There's bits and pieces around. The very cheapest flight baritones, I think, of this sort of money. I'd probably be looking at one of those. So it doesn't set the world alight, but rather like the other Tanglewood instruments I looked at. They didn't do horrifically badly either. Just for a name like Tanglewood, which is very well respected, I think it's a shame that they are not putting out something that is killer. Some of their guitars are very well respected. It's all just very generic, where I think they've just got something from China and said stick the word Tanglewood up there. There's not much else to it, really. I sound like I'm being really harsh on it? Tell me what you think about the looks of it. It's all right. It's all right. The Tanglewood Tiare series, TWT 20 baritone, all laminate ebony. And that's it, really. That's what you want to know. RRP 169. Shop around. You'll find it a little bit cheaper. Yeah, not totally bad. Not totally bad at all. Right. Thank you very much for watching. Another one down. I can't believe how many ukulele boxes have arrived in the last week. They've come from all over the world. I've got some really weird stuff coming up. I've got some beautiful stuff coming up. And I've got some of the usual common or garden stuff coming up. Anyway, lots to get through, lots of interest. Hope you enjoyed these. Thank you for your ongoing support. Take care of each other and yourselves in the week ahead. Have a great week. I will see you in a week. Bye-bye.